Very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome all of you in today's session on strengthening industry institute interface. At the same time, we have kept another area which is connected with this industry institute interface, that is transition from campus to corporate. Now, what is the essence of this particular webinar? Why you have kept the theme, these two particular connected themes across the world? This is a common issue, the gap, the widening gap between industry and academia. This is not specific to India. Across the world, this is an issue. At the same time, there is another issue and lot of studies also in India by NASCOM, CII, ASSOCHAM, and different bodies that employability of the students. Some studies say that only 10% engineers are employable, only 15% management graduates are employable, so on and so forth. So why the situation is like this, and how as a teachers or students we can address this particular gap? I think that needs detailed deliberation. And as a main stakeholder, the teachers play a key role in this particular process. Let us talk first on strengthening industry institute interface. There are a lot of talks around, there are a lot of measures also taken to strengthen or bridge this particular gap. We'll try to address these areas. So today's agenda will be to start with an introduction about industry institute interface. What are the challenges are there? Why is industry divorced from academia? And how we can ensure that industry and academia can work hands in hand. So if we look at today, we can find out that most of the institutions, they have started with one corporate resource center or industry institute interface cell to strengthen this particular gap. Whatever is being practiced in industry or the industry requirements, we find that our curriculum is lagging behind. That's why the curriculum is changed after 3 years or 4 years, and there is a lot of focus on value-added certification courses, so that what are the changes in the industry, those things can be taught to the students. So many efforts are being taken from academia, but there are always some kind of challenges. Academia always says that industry is not coming forward. At the same time, industry always also have lot of grievances, and they say that we are not valued in academic campuses. So keeping aside this particular debate, but how we can ensure that this gap is minimized. However, we cannot bring this gap to zero. That's not possible, because industry, there is always something or other changing in the industry, and academia need to keep pace with that, even though we cannot exactly match what is the requirement in the corporate sector. Now, if we look at the academic world, we'll find out that whatever we are teaching or whatever we are practicing, right, in campuses, those things, we take those ideas or practices or tools and techniques from the corporate, right? Now, just Let me tell you one example. The major source of research funding for academia is corporate, right? There are a lot of sponsored research projects in the corporate, and many top institutions, their faculty are engaged in consulting. There are chair professors, and they do a lot of MDP program for the corporate, and thus they not only add values to the corporate world, but they bring in real knowledge from the industry and give it to the students. I think that's another very important area. Why, as a teacher, we all must engage in these extension activities, research, MDP, consulting, sponsored projects, and all these areas. Industry trends and practices. Most of the times, we'll see that there are a lot of changes in the industry because people needs and preferences changes very fast, and corporate need to respond to those kind of changes so that they can develop the product and services to meet their demands. So the space of change is very fast, and in academic world we need to know work along with these changes with the corporate sector. Designing the curriculum, I think one area is very, very important. Today, the regulatory bodies, they have given a lot of stress on the emerging areas like analytics, robotics, right? Big data management, cloud computing, all these areas, there are focus by the regulatory bodies, and they are encouraging institutions to start programs in these particular areas so that academia can meet the corporate needs. But there are many challenges in the sense that corporate, whenever there is any consulting assignment, corporate always needs it very fast, maybe 1 or 2 months deadline with a lot of specifications. But sometimes academia may not respond to that kind of situation. So academic, we need to be very, very fast, focused, and whenever such requirement comes, we should be able to deliver within that given time with the specification as mentioned by the companies. I think that's one area we need to look at. So if you look at the gaps, mainly the gaps means that in terms of the practices, in terms of corporate needs, in terms of research, in terms of consulting, the management development program, the curriculum, how as a teacher we can change the pedagogies, okay, so that we can make the students employable for the corporate, or we can ensure that students acquire the day one skills so that they can be employed in the corporate. I think that's one area is very important. That's why today we find that there are no concept of industry institute partnership cells, which is dedicated to strengthen the corporate tie-up. There are many ways we can bring in the industry inside the campus. And most of the places, if you look at today, we have the concept of guest lecture, expert lecture, wherein some corporate people come every week and interact with the faculty and the students. We also have industrial visit by the students, wherein students are taken to industry, they need to interact, then they need to make a mini project, give a presentations, So in a very structured way. That's also another way students can connect with the corporate. Deputation of the faculty in the lean period. Many times during the sabbatical, corporate teachers can go on sabbatical to corporate and engage, work for few days there to understand the corporate nitty-gritty. I think that's also another trend, okay, which is very popular. Organizing like workshop seminar on a continuous basis by the corporate expert for the teachers and the students. Another way to how we can connect with the corporate requirements. We have many panel discussions, and these panels are exclusively comprised by the corporate. Many institutions, they have no yearly CEO interactions wherein top CEOs are invited into the institutions and some panel discussion happens. Okay, we have the HR managers meet to understand what kind of skill sets are required in different sectors, so that as a teachers, we can inculcate those skill sets among our students so that they become employable. Many institutions, they have instituted corporate excellence award as well to recognize the efforts and excellence of some of the corporate executives and give them some recognitions. I think that's also a very popular way, right? How we can ensure many institutions now they are giving renewed focus in this particular area wherein they can further strengthen, because end of the day, see, whatever we do it, end of the day, the product, the students, the final finished product, they will step in the corporate and they must get a suitable job as per their no dream, we call it, or their career aspiration. And to do that, we need to bridge this gap. However, I said in the beginning, this gap we cannot bring into zero, but always we can ensure that we minimize this particular gap. And this is possible. Academia cannot operate in isolation. It has to work hands in hand with the corporate. Many corporates today, if you look at ICICI, they have the URAN, a particular scheme to connect with the corporate. Infosys, they have the Campus Connect. L&T Infotech, they have the Spurs. Okay. Likewise, there are many MOUs are signed between companies and academic institutions so that they can work hands in hand. Intel and many companies, they have set up Cisco. Okay, they have CCNA Network Lab. So many institutions, HP, they have established their lab, Nokia Lab, inside the academic institutions so that research work can start and they can work closely with the academia, because corporate also have interest here, because end of the day, their employees will come from the academic institutions. So if they can ensure that students during their programs, only if they can acquire the requisite skills, so their efforts comes down to not that kind of efforts they need to take to put the incumbent on a particular project. So this is a both way process, right? The academia also need to come forward and corporate also need to come forward, and both need to work hands in hand, because both have the mutual interest here. That we need to understand. It's a kind of win-win situation. Industry, academia need to work together, and especially if I talk about whatever stream it is, the management and engineering departments or science department, right? There is a lot of initiatives by the institutions wherein they have dedicated corporate resource center. They have the huge manpower to maintain the corporate connect, and a lot of initiatives are taken. The lab established so that they can work hands in hand with the corporate. Having said that, there is a huge world of opportunities are there wherein academia can work hands in hand in corporate and add values. Like corporate, there are a lot of projects will be there, and these projects maybe they outsource from second party or third party, consultants, and they need to pay a huge amount. But these the projects can be very well done by the academic institutions, and academic institutions, most of them have the requisite laboratory or infrastructure support. Then another very popular way wherein academia connect with the corporate is lending out the infrastructure, right? Many times we have seen that sports activities, corporate sports activities, their seminar conferences are happening in academic institutions because they have very good audio, video, no audio, visual room, and big conference hall, and they have a big sports ground, and they lend out to the corporate at a very reasonable rate. I think that's another way to build good contact with the corporate sector. The second, the topic of today's what we have kept, I think that is also connected with this, very well connected with this. In one area, in one side, we need to maintain the good relations with the corporate. We need to bring down the gap between industry institute, strengthen the interface, and on the other side, to ensure that students they get a better career opportunities in the corporate. And that part, we named it transition from campus to corporate. As I said before, right, end of the day, after finishing the program, students need a job. Is it not? Students need a job. Corporate also needs manpower. But what is missing here? The skill mapping. Whatever skill sets corporate are looking for, they are not getting exactly. There is a skill mismatch. So this must be addressed. That means students must be employable. They should have the requisite skill sets and the abilities so that they can be employed in the corporate sector, right? So that's very important. So these two are interconnected. Until unless academia strengthen the relations with the corporate in one hand, and second hand to make the students employable so that they get a good job at the end of their academic program. Now, if we look at the transition from this campus to corporate, right? Why many students are not employable today? And industry, across the world, and they say that most of the students they lack in life skills and the soft skills, right? Even they have the hard skills, but these skills they are lacking. That's why we find lot of this personality development, life skills, soft skills programs are initiated in the campuses to make the students employable. So that's one area. The transition, how the transition, what does it mean here once I say the transition? So what I mean here, that means a sense of achievement, right? Once a student moves out from academia to corporate, there is a sense of achievement. And that student gets regular income and freedom. There is a new environment in the corporate. What environment he lived for last 2 years or 4 years program, now the corporate environment is complete, a new setup. So it needs a transition. There's a new learning opportunities in corporate, changes in the location. So it needs adaptability, right? Students need to adapt in the corporate environment. At the same time, there may be anxiety among the students. Students join a particular company, they don't know how company works, what kind of learning environment, who is the boss, what is the company culture, what kind of project he will be deployed, what kind of training program he or she needs to undergo. So a lot of anxieties will be there. And there will be expectations by the incumbent that coming next 5 years or 10 years, that incumbents may see himself or herself as a senior manager. So this career expectations being in the company, that's also another uncertain areas. Meeting the goals. Corporates are very, very specific. Whatever target is given to them, whether they could achieve the targets within the time limit or not. So I think these areas must be addressed by the incumbent. I think that's very, very important. Why we need a transformation? Every year, if you look at the academic world, 30 to 40 lakh graduates pass out. For 50 to 60% of Indian youths, no, Indian populations are youth between the age of 15 to 35 years. And it says that around 10 to 15% graduates are employable. As I said, there are different studies are available. So why this particular gap is there? So what we need to understand so that as a teachers, we can make students employable. I think that area is very, very important. I think every student, what is very important in the management theory, we talk about SWOT analysis, right? Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. I think each student needs to do a SWOT analysis. Even as a teacher, we need to do a SWOT analysis. Whether the first part, what I was talking about, whether each one of us are engaging ourselves in some kind of extension activities, some kind of corporate consulting, right? Whether do you have some sponsored project from the corporate? Okay, that we need to, or whether we are able to conduct some management development program for the executives or not. Many institutions, they have started the executive program exclusively for the corporate to build the gap, right? Leadership training program so that they can get the corporate leaders inside the campus, give them training and build a strong relation with them for future collaboration. So this particular SWOT analysis is very much important, not only for our students, but even for every one of us, right? To understand the area for improvement, which are the areas still we can improvise, and the area we are very competent, how we can make use of those competency areas, and we can add values to the corporate, to the society. I think that's very, very important. If students can do the proper SWOT analysis, I think they can improvise. They can find out the areas and then can improvise. That's very, very important. Now, everybody wants success, right? There is no one who doesn't need success in life. But success is highly individualistic. What is success for me may not be success for somebody else. But having said that, okay, there's a sense of satisfaction, a sense of contentment and fulfillment, right? That's about the success. So when the students passing out and they want to enter into the corporate world, and it is rightly said that learning happens, real learning happens when students walk out from the college gate. Okay, that means they enter into the corporate worlds. Now, success is this acronym. Success means S. Okay, select your goal. U, unlock your imprisoned potential. C, commit yourself to the plan. Again, C, chart your course. E, expected problems. S, stand firm on your commitment. And S, surrender everything to God, right? So that's the acronym for success. It's a very lengthy one, but it's quite meaningful. The mantra for success. The mantra for success. 6 E's mantra for success. First is examine your life. The second E is exchange all your little options for one big dream. The third C is expose yourself to successful people. The fourth E is express your belief in your dreams. Write it down. Talk about it frequently. The fifth E is expect opposition to your dream. And the sixth E is exercise all of your effort and all of your energy toward that dream. So there is an acronym for success. Okay, the mantra for success, the principle of 6 E's. Now, another very important area, I think, for the students, right, is about time management and the discipline. I think these two things are very, very important for the students. Okay, the academic schedule is very hectic schedule they have, but they need to manage the time effectively. At the same time, They need to manage the stress as well. Stop stressing, start living, in a very simple word, if I would like to put it across. No fear. Okay. Not depending on the luck. You depend on the skill sets. We call it KSA factors: knowledge, skills, and abilities. And in other words, it's about knowing, doing, and being. Whether the students know the concepts well or not, whether fundamental concepts are clear or not, the analytical skills, the conceptual skills, the technical skills, whether they have or not, that's very, very important. Doing means whatever knowledges students they have, whether they can put same thing in action, hands-on activity. And being means students need to be a professional. Every time they encounter a new situation, a new problem, they should be able to address that. That's very important. Let us not depend on the luck. Let us depend on our skill sets. So knowledge, skill, and the abilities are very, very important. There was one study by World Economic Forum, and they say that no one quality, if today not only students, any individuals, no any individual has one particular quality, I think that person need not worry. That's about no, they call it as learnability, the ability to learn fast. Because as I said, the industry, the environment is changing so fast. We need to keep pace with it, and we need to learn quickly new things, new concept, new tools and techniques. Just for an example, see, due to this pandemic, we never thought of as a teachers to take the classes online. Students never thought they have to attend the classes online, not only for the college teachers. Even the primary school students are attending very effectively. They're able to handle the mobile, the laptop. They're entering into the classroom, engaging, interacting. Something very, very fantastic. So ability to learn fast. Okay. Given a situation, we need to pick up the new tools and techniques, and we need to be able to put that into action. I think that's very, very important. There was one study, another study by the Gallup, and this particular study says they did one survey in business schools, and they could find out that around 70% students, they say that there is not much focus on leadership development skills among themselves. I think that's another area, because in today's VUCA world, the turbulent world, the leadership quality is one quality which can help them to sail through difficult time and address the problems, the new problems. I think that's very important. Not only address the new problems, but also find out solutions for the emerging problems which still has not come, but yet to come. I think that's something is very, very important. Now, this skill sets, what I was talking about, especially for the students, what employers want, especially new hire. I was interacting with one of the industrialists few months back, and I said that a student for his or her 15, 20 years academic journey, and he or she comes for interview for 15 minutes, and you judge that person in 15 minutes, whether that person can deliver or not. How you can do that? What skill you are looking for? And my industrialist friend says, see, we look for only one area. We see that whether that candidate has right kind of attitude or not. You see, that's another very, very important area. Attitude, okay? The positive frame of mind to take up the challenges, to learn new things, new concept. I think that's very important. And people say that skill gaps, there is nothing skill gaps, it's a skill need. What skill corporate they need is not a gap. If students have the right kind of attitude, the positive attitude, they can learn it. Because what is the employability skill in the year 2000, that time, because of the emergence of the BPO sector, having good communication skills or having stronghold in English one can easily enter into the BPO sector. But today, everyone can talk in English. Most of the people have good communication skills. So today, the employability areas have changed. The requirements have changed. So employability is no keeping in pace with the industry requirement. What was employability quotient 5 years back that may not be relevant today. That's what I said, that academic institution, we need to keep pace with the industry. We need to work hand in hand with the industry, understand the changes, understand the new emerging tools and techniques. And curriculum cannot change every day, right? Minimum 3 to 4 years, we have to give time to change the curriculum because there is a scientific process of changing the curriculum. So in between, there may be a lot of changes. That's why for engineering program now 4 compulsory the project work is mandatory. MBA 2 internship is mandatory. Lot of focus is given by the regulatory bodies so that students become industry ready. And institutions also have come upfront to take up the challenges and to ensure that the students are employable. Few areas in the interview, the new hire generally asked few questions like in the area of communication skills, whether the incumbents have the confidence, the honesty and integrity. Another area is very, very important. The interpersonal skills, the analytical skills, the team, working in a team spirit. I think these are some of the very common areas and all of us understand, right? But how we can develop those skill sets, transfer those skill sets, inject those skill sets among the students. What are the different mechanisms we can incorporate into our campus? I think that is very, very important. And to do that, first we need to understand what is that gap, what is that missing, right? And definitely we can do. Especially if I talk about today, the today's world, because we cannot disconnect from the current situation. Due to this unprecedented time, we see there is huge challenges coming up for the teachers, for the students, even for the corporate by themselves. This is a complete new kind of situation we all are sailing through. Now, technology is the big disruptor and a great leveler. And at this particular time, I think as the teachers, also we need to develop certain skill set and need to ensure that our students and need to ensure that
So prepare this presentation.